You ever notice how silence feels different when you're alone at night? It's not the kind of quiet that comforts you, it's the kind that listens back. Tonight, I'll tell you about 3 people who found out what really waits in that silence. 3 true stories of what happens when the night decides you shouldn't be alone. You ever notice how the night feels different when you're alone? It's not just the quiet, it's what hides underneath it. That heavy silence that presses against your ears until you start hearing things that aren't there. The faint hum of electricity, the creak of the walls settling, the way your own heartbeat suddenly sounds too loud. You tell yourself it's all normal, just the house, just the dark. But deep down, some part of you knows the night doesn't go quiet for no reason. There's a point somewhere between midnight and 3 a.m. when the world feels hollow. The cars stop, the wind dies, and even the streetlights hum softer, like they're trying not to disturb something. That's when the stillness starts to feel alive. It watches you. It listens. And the longer you sit there, pretending not to notice, the stronger that feeling gets, like the darkness is waiting for you to make a mistake, to move, to breathe too loud. Most people never stay up long enough to feel it. But those who do, they all say the same thing. There's a shift, a subtle one. The air grows heavier, thicker. The shadows stretch just a little farther than they should. You glance over your shoulder, certain someone's standing behind you, but there's no one there. You try to shake it off. Maybe it's exhaustion. Maybe your brain's playing tricks on you. Yet something deep inside whispers, no. It's real. You turn the TV up, scroll through your phone, do anything to drown it out. But the quiet keeps bleeding through. Because when you're alone at night, there's no audience, no noise to hide behind. It's just you and whatever else decided to stay awake. Sometimes it doesn't. To even do anything, it just waits, watches, feeds off that small flicker of fear growing in your chest. It's patient, it's ancient, and it's far more familiar with your home than you think. It knows the sound your floorboards make. It knows the rhythm of your footsteps, the way you breathe when you're scared. It's been here longer than you have, tucked into the corners you forget to look at, whispering through the static of the TV when the signal cuts out. You've probably felt it before. That instant rush of cold air on the back of your neck when you thought you were alone. The moment your body froze before your mind even understood why. That wasn't paranoia, that was recognition. You see, being alone at night isn't the danger. The danger is realizing you never really are. Every door you lock, every light you turn off, it's not to keep the dark out, it's to keep what's in it from getting closer. So the next time you hear that faint shuffle from the hallway, or that quiet tap on or window, don't rush to check. Don't even move, just listen. Because sometimes the night knocks first. He'd always liked being alone. Nights were quieter that way. No calls, no voices, no one asking for anything. Just him and the faint hum of the refrigerator in the next room. He told himself it was peaceful. But peace doesn't stare back at you. Not like that night. It started around 1:40 a.m. The rain had stopped hours ago, but the sound of dripping water still echoed from somewhere outside. He was sitting by the window, the kind of tired where your thoughts start to drift without permission. That's when he noticed it. Across the street, under the flickering orange glow of a street lamp, something was standing there, not moving, not breathing, just there. He squinted, trying to make out the shape, maybe a person. A tall figure, shoulders slouched slightly forward, head tilted too far to one side. He waited for it to move. It didn't. Minutes passed, then maybe more. The figure bare shifted, never even blinked. He told himself it was nothing, a shadow, a trick of the light, maybe even his imagination. But the longer he stared, the more wrong it felt. The light flickered again, and for a split second, it wasn't standing across the street anymore. It was closer. He stumbled back, his chair scraping the floor. His heart was pounding so hard he could hear it in his ears. He looked again, nothing. Just the empty street, silent and wet under the lamp. He tried laughing it off, even spoke out loud to calm himself down. "You're losing it," he muttered. "It's just the rain messing with your eyes." But then came the sound, a faint, deliberate tapping on the glass behind him. Slow, even, tap, tap, tap. He froze, didn't breathe. The sound came again, this time lower, like fingernails brushing the glass instead of knuckles. He wanted to turn around, wanted to convince himself it was the wind, a branch, anything but what he feared, but his body refused to move. When he finally gathered the nerve to turn, there was nothing there. Just his reflection, pale and wide-eyed in the darkened window. He stood there for a long time after that. The clock ticked past 2:17 a.m. The house was still, but he could feel something else, a quiet awareness just outside the edge of sight. He went to bed with every light on, TV running, curtains closed tight, but even then, as he lay in the dim glow, he swore he heard it again, that soft, dragging sound along the glass. By morning, he tried convincing himself it was a dream. He even laughed about it later, called it one of those weird late-night moments. But when he looked out the window before leaving for work, there were three faint smudges on the glass. Long, thin streaks that started halfway up and ended near the lock. It's strange how fear works. It doesn't always arrive screaming or clawing. Sometimes it slips in quietly, like cold air under a door. You don't even notice it at first. You're just sitting scrolling through your phone, maybe sipping coffee, and then something small shifts. The sound in the room feels off. The shadows seem thicker. The air feels heavier, almost aware. You tell yourself it's nothing, but your body already knows better. That's the part no one talks about. Or is again. You glance down the hallway. You turn on one more light, then another. The glow should make you feel safe, but it doesn't. The brightness just gives the darkness more places to hide. You start to realize it isn't out there. It's closer. In the silence between your breaths. In that split second before you blink, the fear builds quietly, like a low hum you can't turn off. You start hearing patterns, soft clicks, faint creaks, maybe even a whisper you can't quite place. You hold your breath to listen, and that's when it happens. The world holds its breath with you. Everything stops, and in that stillness, something shifts. You can't describe it, you just know. You aren't alone anymore. You want to run, but you don't move. Something deep inside you whispers not to. It's not just fear now, it's understanding. You realize that whatever's there isn't trying to hurt you, it's watching you, studying you, like it's waiting for a reaction. You can't see it, but it's there. In the corner of the room where the shadows never quite fade, behind the half-open door, beneath the hum of your own breath. And when you finally gather the courage to look, really look, there's nothing. Nothing at all. Just silence. Just the house breathing. But somehow that's worse, because when you see nothing, it means it's already found a better place to hide. Inside the part of you that keeps replaying that moment. Inside the thought that won't leave you alone. That's where it stays. Quiet, patient, and smiling in the dark. There's something unsettling about the moments when everything feels still, when the night outside your window seems to stop breathing, and the world goes quiet in a way that feels deliberate. You can't explain it, but it's there. That sense that something unseen has just stepped into the room and decided to wait. You tell yourself it's nothing, but deep down, you know better. You can feel it. The quiet isn't peace, it's observation. You start to notice the SMA. LL things first. The way the light flickers for no reason. The sound of the fridge motor cutting off mid-hum, the soft vibration of the walls that stops the second you listen for it. These aren't accidents, they're interruptions, little reminders that you're not the one controlling the silence. And when that realization sinks in, it doesn't hit like a scream. It settles like a whisper. Calm, heavy, cold, you sit there, frozen, pretending to scroll your phone, but your eyes keep drifting toward that one dark corner of the room. The one that never seems to catch the light, no matter how many bulbs you replace. You can't see anything, yet every instinct tells you there's someone there, standing perfectly still, matching your breath. You want to look away, but something about the quiet tells you not to. It's a warning disguised as stillness. Minutes pass, maybe more. The fear stops feeling sharp. It becomes something quieter, slower. The kind that doesn't make you scream, it makes you. Listen. You start to understand that whatever's here doesn't need to move. It doesn't need to reveal itself. It's patient. It's content knowing that you know. That's enough. Because once you've noticed it, it owns that part of your mind. Every creak, every sigh of the house, every flicker in the corner of your eye, all of it becomes its voice. You try to reason with yourself. Tell yourself the same lies you always do. It's just the wind. It's just the house settling. But those excuses don't sound convincing anymore. Not tonight, because this silence feels different. It feels aware. You can almost hear it, not with your ears, but with something deeper, like it's whispering a thought directly into your chest. Don't move. And so you sit there, still, listening. The ticking clock, the hum of your own breath, the faint crackle of air through the vents. Everything sounds too loud. You realize that whatever's here doesn't need to hurt you. That's not what it wants. It just wants to remind you that it exists, that you've always been sharing this space. You just forgot to notice, so you wait. Not because you're curious, because you don't want to see what happens if you break the silence first. It's strange how quickly the night can return to normal. The lights come back on, the house exhales, and suddenly everything feels safe again. You convince yourself that whatever you heard, whatever you saw, was nothing, just a trick of your mind playing with the dark. But that's the thing about the dark. It doesn't play, it remembers. When the morning comes, you start to laugh about it. You tell yourself that fear makes fools of everyone. You open the curtains, let the sunlight in, and feel brave again. The world looks ordinary, predictable, but deep down, in the quiet place between heartbeat and breath, there's a trace of something left behind. that faint echo of the night before when you swore something was watching. You try not to think about it, but every shadow in daylight looks just a little too deep. Every sound from the hallway still makes you pause for a second longer than it should. That's how it lingers, not as a memory, but as a question that refuses to die. What if it wasn't in your head? That's how it starts, isn't it? A single thought, small, harmless, but it grows. You begin to wonder if maybe the dark isn't the enemy. Maybe it's a door. Maybe what you felt wasn't trying to scare you. Maybe it was trying to see if you'd notice. Because not everyone does. Most people move too fast, fill every second with noise, never giving the silence a chance to breathe. But you did. You sat still long enough to hear it. And now it knows you can. The truth is, the things that live in the dark aren't always after you. They're drawn to awareness, to the moment someone finally looks into the quiet and realizes it's looking back. That's when it finds you, not with claws or teeth or screams, but with something far simpler, a presence, the weight of an unseen gaze, the whisper that doesn't belong to any living voice. It doesn't chase you because it doesn't have to. You'll carry it with you, in the back of your mind, in the corners of every empty room, in the silence before you sleep, and the next time you're alone at night when the world feels too still and your reflection looks a little too human, you'll feel it again, that soft pull of attention from the dark. It won't make a sound. It doesn't need to, because it knows you remember. You'll turn off the light, crawl into bed, tell yourself it was nothing, but before you drift off, before your eyes fully close, there'll be that one last thought, quiet, unshakable, certain. You were never alone. You just hadn't noticed who was keeping you company. Alone at night, we tell ourselves the house creaks, the wind moans, the shadows move because of the lights. But the truth is, some things wait for when we're alone, not to scare us, but to be noticed. So the next time you hear that faint whisper in the dark, don't ignore it, because if you do, it might stop whispering and start answering.